Iron Mike has faced several final bosses in his professional career. One of them was Evander Holyfield in a long-promised battle that took years to materialize and left no one indifferent. Welcome. Here you will learn the entire story behind the first encounter between Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson, two warriors destined to battle it out on more than one occasion. Heads up, the images you are about to see are unprecedented. Get comfortable, because a true deathmatch is about to begin. Finally wasn't a title chosen at random for this encounter. Tyson and Holyfield were originally scheduled to fight on June 18, 1990 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Tyson, who was then the undisputed world heavyweight champion, was guaranteed $22 million, and Holyfield, the undisputed #1 heavyweight contender, was guaranteed $11 million. However, these plans were scrapped when Tyson lost the title to James Buster Douglas by knockout in the 10th round on February 11, 1990 in Tokyo, Japan. Eight months later, on October 25th, Douglas lost the title to Holyfield by knockout in the 3rd round in Las Vegas, Nevada. The second scheduled fight between Tyson and Holyfield was to take place on November 8, 1991, at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. It would be Holyfield's second title defense, and he was guaranteed $30 million. This time around, Tyson was only guaranteed $15 million. But on September 9th, Mike was accused of raping a contestant in a beauty pageant in Indianapolis, Indiana. Although some believed the fight should have been canceled, all signs pointed to it proceeding as planned. Then on October 19th, it was announced that Tyson had injured his ribs, and the fight would have to be postponed. Since Mike's trial was scheduled to begin on January 27, 1992, it was decided not to speculate on a new date for the bout. On February 10th, Tyson was found guilty of rape and sent to prison. On March 25, 1995, Tyson was released. The incredible Iron Mike proved he was back, regaining his World Boxing Council heavyweight title with a 3rd-round technical knockout over Frank Bruno on March 16, 1996. He also regained the World Boxing Association heavyweight title with a 1st-round technical knockout over Bruce Seldon on September 7, 1996. His mandatory challenger was Lennox Lewis, but Tyson knew he had unfinished business with Holyfield. So Mike relinquished the World Boxing Council title and accepted his destiny. With $30 million guaranteed, compared to Holyfield's $12 million, arrangements were made. Finally, on November 9, 1996, what fans of the sport had been waiting for so many years materialized. There were no more excuses, and an incredible crowd of over 16,100 people gathered at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, to witness the promised duel. This time, Tyson was to defend his World Boxing Association title for the first time. Holyfield stepped into the ring with a professional record of 32 victories, 23 of them by knockout and 3 losses. Tyson entered with 45 victories, 39 by knockout, and just 1 loss. To closely follow the match, Dalby Shirley, Jerry Roth, and Federico Vollmer were called in as judges. The 3rd man in the ring was none other than Mitch Halpern. First round. Tyson lunged at Holyfield, unleashing the beast he was in his early days. The clash of power between the two fighters produced the first clinches. Tyson threw his right hand at Holyfield, aiming to make this one of the shortest fights of his career, but he didn't connect. When Holyfield found himself in trouble, he resorted to clinching. When he wasn't, he counterattacked, showing why this fight had been worth the wait for so many years. Second round. Tyson continued launching missiles at Holyfield's body, which were cleverly dodged. Mike had already fought real giants in the past and knew he needed to attack the body to wear it down enough before going for the head. Tyson experienced a serious moment of tension against the ropes, with Holyfield executing a powerful barrage of punches on him. After clinching, Halpern put some distance between them. Back in the center of the ring, Mike made sure to show he wasn't defeated yet. Third round. As soon as the bell rang, Holyfield grabbed Tyson's body. There wasn't a clear aggressor, even in the third round. Both fighters aimed to hurt each other. Even the clinches were situations that could escalate further. Holyfield seemed successful in pushing Tyson against the ropes, although the champion didn't stay there long. In the center of the ring, the fearsome exchanges occurred.
Tyson no está acostumbrado, que viene metido a la derecha arriba Mike Tyson. Aprovechan para meter ahí los ganchos.
Fourth round. The fight had stabilized, but not in a negative way. From the first round, neither had ceased their offensive. After each bell, an incredible clash of forces took place. As the clock ticked on, the endurance of the fighters began to take on more significance. Which of them would exhaust their energy first and allow the other to dominate? Nonetheless, the clinches still seemed to work for Holyfield to neutralize Tyson's fierce offense and buy some time.
Bien le ha mandado la derecha recta Evander Holyfield al mentón de Mike Tyson.
Fifth round. Holyfield tried his luck, exchanging punches with Tyson at the beginning of the round. Quickly, Tyson showed superiority by neutralizing his offense and dominating him. Holyfield had no choice but to resort to clinching and trying to survive the round.
Ha cambiado la táctica en este quinto asalto. Ha metido los dos ganchos Tyson.
Sixth round. Tyson started the round by pushing Holyfield back to the ropes. Even in the clinches, Tyson had studied Holyfield enough to keep attacking the body. Holyfield seemed more concerned with containing Mike's ferocious offense than with launching his own attacks. But out of nowhere, a left hand landed on Tyson's jaw, sending him to the canvas. Getting up immediately, Tyson managed to fight until the end of the round.
A llover bastante menos, se fue a la lona Mike Tyson. Llegó el gancho de izquierda.
Seventh round. Holyfield didn't come out in the seventh to finish Tyson, and this cost him. His lack of aggression allowed Mike to regain the ground he seemed to have lost after that knockdown. With clinches, Holyfield seemed resigned to fighting to survive rather than to attack. Perhaps that knockdown would give him an edge on the judges' scorecards. The cut above Mike's left eyebrow, caused by a headbutt, needed to be checked by the ringside doctor, who cleared him to continue. But Mike's killer instinct told him he needed to act quickly before it affected his performance.
Falló el golpe, le buscaba el mentón a Holyfield.
Eighth round. With Holyfield fighting to survive, Mike created scenarios that favored his offense. If Holyfield initiated an exchange, he ended it with a clinch. Tyson evaluated Holyfield's responses to plan his final strategy.
Cruza a la derecha Holyfield, a Tyson para que no entre, toca con la izquierda Mike Tyson.
Ninth round. Tyson had a huge target on his left eyebrow, and Holyfield knew he had to attack it if he really wanted to hurt him. Holyfield intended to start exchanges, but he ended them with clinches once Tyson began to win them. With a knockdown in his favor and Mike's face bleeding, it was easy to see Holyfield as the aggressor in the fight. Still, Mike was far from giving up.
Evander Holyfield.
10th round. Tyson couldn't hide his discomfort from the wound. He had to keep his guard high if he didn't want it to worsen with every blow Holyfield sent to it. They say there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded beast, and so it was. Gradually, the intensity of Tyson's offense increased. Holyfield's clinches were less and less effective at containing him, but Mike's victory still seemed distant. During the last 30 seconds of the round, Tyson had to endure a barrage of punches from Holyfield that made him stagger until he hit the ropes and bounced back. For the first time in his career, Iron Mike knew what it meant to be saved by the bell.
Otra vez la derecha de Evander Holyfield, sabe que le han llegado muy bien esas manos. Esa combinación durísima, la derecha, Tyson se va.
11th round. Holyfield hadn't finished Tyson in the two opportunities he had, but as they say, the third time's the charm. At the start of the 13th round, Holyfield picked up where he left off. Unleashing bombs on Tyson's weakened body, he seemed to receive no response or anything resembling a counterattack. That's when Halpern intervened and stopped the fight. Evander Holyfield was declared the winner by technical knockout at 37 seconds into the 11th round.
Un momento. En el fondo, establece el boxeo sin ya te...
If you've made it this far, thank you. Remember, the best way to support my content is by leaving a like on the video. Do you think Halpern made the right decision in stopping the fight? Or did Tyson still have something left to give? I'll read your comments.
Do you think you know the story of Mike Tyson? I invite you to test your memory as we travel through the fastest knockouts of his entire career. Which was the first? Which was the last? Which was the fastest? Find out and more by staying until the end. Mike Tyson versus Hector Mercedes. Do you know what happened on March 6, 1985? If you thought of Mike Tyson's debut as a professional boxer, you're right. The fight took place in the ring at the Empire State Plaza Convention Center, Albany, New York. His opponent was none other than Hector Mercedes, who had recently made his debut but had not secured a victory. Instead, Mercedes had a professional record of 3 losses. With Luis Rivera as the third man in the ring, the bout began. First round. Mercedes landed a solid left punch in the first few seconds of the fight, but was quickly overwhelmed by the aggression of the young Iron Mike. Tyson attacked with powerful combinations targeting any allowed area on Mercedes' body. A flurry of punches when Mercedes was already against the ropes pushed him back into the corner. Once there, Tyson moved in and threw 7 punches, to which there was no response. Among them, a fearsome left hook to the body sent Mercedes down onto one knee. On his knees, Mercedes begged for mercy. He signaled Rivera to end the fight, and Rivera had no choice but to save him from an even harsher fate that awaited had the fight continued for a few more seconds. This bout became Mercedes' second knockout loss in his professional career. At 1 minute and 47 seconds of the first round, Mike Tyson recorded his first professional victory. Mike Tyson versus Ricardo Spain. Soon after, on June 20th, 1985, Mike Tyson entered the ring at Resorts International in Atlantic City, New Jersey, to face Ricardo Spain. The fight, originally scheduled for 6 rounds, was part of the preliminary card for Jesse Ferguson versus Tony Anthony. It was Mike's national television debut and his first fight scheduled for more than 4 rounds. He entered the ring with an undefeated record of 3 victories, each won by knockout. On the other side, Spain had a professional record of 7 wins, 5 by knockout, and no losses. Rocky Castellan, Milo Savage, and Henry Eugene Grant closely followed the bout as judges. With Joe O'Neill as the third man in the ring, the bout began. First round. Tyson aggressively emerged from his corner, delivering lethal combinations to both the body and head. A strong right hand during an exchange caused Spain to lose his balance and fall to the canvas just 18 seconds into the fight. It was impressive. With the help of the ropes, Spain managed to get up. By the 8 count, he had recovered. At 36 seconds, a powerful left hook caused Spain to collapse in the center of the ring. This prompted O'Neill to end the fight without even starting the count. At 39 seconds of the first round, Mike Tyson was declared the winner by technical knockout over Ricardo Spain.
The legs have gone. This is all over. Yes, it is. I don't believe it.
Mike Tyson versus Michael Johnson. Tyson's incredible knockouts in short periods of time continued. Another notable one was against Michael Johnson. On September 5, 1985, in the ring at the Atlantis Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Tyson stunned the world once again in seconds. Scheduled for 6 rounds, Tyson entered the ring with an impressive record of 7 victories, all by knockout. On the other hand, Johnson's record was announced as 12 wins, 8 by knockout, and 5 losses. If we look at his previous 6 fights, Johnson only had 2 wins and 4 losses. It's also worth noting that each of these losses was by knockout. With Frank Cappuccino as the third man in the ring, the bout began. First round. A big left hook to the body sent Johnson to the canvas just 23 seconds into the fight. But, by the count of 3, he was back up on his feet. When the fight resumed, Tyson moved in and landed a powerful right hand directly on Johnson's chin, sending him down immediately. Due to the severity of the punch, Cappuccino decided to end the fight without starting the safety count. Johnson needed to remain in the ring for a brief period before he received help to sit on a stool. He was completely devastated. But this is common when facing the young knockout machine, Iron Mike. Just 39 seconds into the scheduled 6-round fight, Mike Tyson recorded his victory over Michael Johnson.
Dictation. Here it comes. Whoa.
I'll tell you, Michael Jackson.
Mike Tyson versus Robert Calais. By this point, Tyson probably didn't need to prove to anyone that he was here to stay. But surprisingly, he kept proving how quickly he could eliminate his opponents. On October 25, 1985, the young knockout machine, Iron Mike, stepped into the ring at the Atlantis Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey to face Robert Calais. Mike reached a new milestone with this bout, as it would be his first fight scheduled for 8 rounds. Entering the ring, Tyson had an undefeated professional record of 9 victories, once again all by knockout. Cole's record was listed as 14 wins, 8 by knockout, 5 losses, and 1 draw. With Ted Pick as the third man in the ring, the fight began. First round. As soon as the bell rang, Tyson came out swinging and throwing powerful punches. Cole tried to keep his distance and threw some wide, long hooks. Suddenly, a powerful left hook from Mike sent Cole crashing to the canvas with force. Only 27 seconds had passed since the start of the fight. Cole struggled to get up, just barely making it when Pick's count reached 9. Still, he had trouble staying stable. As a result, Pick had no choice but to call an end to the fight. At 37 seconds of the first round, Mike Tyson was declared the winner over Robert Cole.
Not with that. And really, Cole was out.
But not everything was glory and joy for Mike in the following days. Just 3 days after this bout, Tyson's trainer, mentor, and father figure, Cus D'Amato, died of pneumonia. An event that undoubtedly impacted more than just his professional life. Mike Tyson versus Sterling Benjamin. Immediately after defeating Cole on November 1st, 1985, knockout machine Mike Tyson demonstrated how finely tuned he was by stepping into the ring at the Latham Coliseum in Latham, New York, to face Sterling Benjamin. Tyson had reached the incredible milestone of 10 knockout victories with no losses and was aiming for more. With Sid Rubenstein as the third man in the ring, the fight began. First round. At the start, Benjamin circled the ring and threw a powerful jab. It was a lethal left hook that knocked Benjamin down just 24 seconds into the fight. However, by the time Rubenstein's count reached 8, he was back on his feet. Once the fight resumed, Tyson moved in and launched a flurry of punches, with Benjamin having no choice but to remain cornered against the ropes. A couple of right hooks to the body, followed by a left hook to the body, led to Benjamin being knocked down for the second time in the contest. This time, before the safety count was even completed, Rubenstein called an end to the fight. At 54 seconds of the first round of an 8-round fight, Tyson defeated Sterling Benjamin by technical knockout.
That is the limit of Sterling Benjamin's endurance.
After the fight. However, not everything was glory and joy for Mike in the days following. Just 3 days after this bout, Tyson's trainer, mentor, and father figure, Cus D'Amato, passed away from pneumonia. This event undoubtedly affected more than just his professional life. Mike Tyson versus Eddie Richardson. As the end of 1985 approached on November 13th, Tyson stepped into the ring at the Ramada Houston Hotel in Houston, Texas, to face Eddie Richardson. At that time, Richardson was the Southern boxing champion. His announced record was 12 wins, 8 by knockout, and 2 losses. On the other side, Tyson's 11 knockout victories with no losses contrasted sharply. From the announcement, everyone was on edge. It would be Tyson's first fight without Cus D'Amato, who had passed away 9 days earlier from pneumonia. With Barry Yates as the third man in the ring, the bout began. First round. Tyson opened the fight spectacularly. The young knockout machine landed a cross right hand that sent Richardson to the canvas just 8 seconds into the fight. Stubbornly, Richardson was up by the count of 7. After resuming the fight, Tyson chased Richardson around the ring, landing powerful punches to the head without mercy. Richardson spun around and occasionally threw a jab, but mostly Tyson succeeded in avoiding his punches. A left hand blocked Richardson's knees at 1 minute and 5 seconds, sending him straight to the canvas for the second time. Richardson fell on his back and remained on the ground, making little effort to get up. After Yates completed the safety count, he helped Richardson to his feet. After the fight, Richardson was asked if he had ever been hit as hard as he was against Iron Mike. His response was yes, about a year ago. Richardson recalled the time he was hit by a truck. This was Tyson's 6th consecutive knockout in the first round. Mike Tyson versus Sammy Scaff. 1985 was coming to a close, and Tyson knew he had no choice but to end it with a bang. On December 6th, he stepped into the ring at the Felt Forum in New York to face Sammy Scaff. Scaff was announced with a professional record of 13 wins, 11 of them by knockout, and 6 losses. At that point, Tyson's professional record had risen to 13 knockout victories, remaining undefeated. Scaff entered the ring after losing his previous 2 fights by knockout, one against Proud Kilimanjaro and the other against Tim Witherspoon. With Freddie Ucci as the third man in the ring, the bout began. First round. Just 17 seconds into the first round, Tyson landed a devastating left hook that drove Scaff back into the ropes. As a result, Scaff's nose began to bleed uncontrollably. Tyson continued his attack with a solid right hand that crashed into Scaff's jaw, causing him to stagger and circle the ring. Occasionally, Scaff threw wild hooks, but it was a short, wild left hook that sent him crashing back against the ropes, falling to the canvas on his chest just 1 minute and 4 seconds into the fight. Scaff struggled to get back up and managed to stand by the count of 8. However, Uchi noticed he was seriously hurt and stopped the fight to prevent further damage. At 1 minute and 19 seconds of the first round, Tyson secured his victory over Sammy Scaff by technical knockout.
Big left hook, and there is Scaff down.
After the fight, this was Scaff's 6th knockout loss in his professional career. Tyson's fans highly value this fight as it was the first time Mike wore what would become his signature attire, the plain black trunks. Mike Tyson versus Marvis Frazier. Fast forward to July 1986, specifically the 26th. Mike Tyson entered the ring at the Civic Center in Glen Falls, New York, to face Marvis Frazier. Frazier was announced with a professional record of 16 wins, 7 by knockout, and 1 previous loss. In the opposite corner, Tyson's undefeated professional record of 24 wins, with 22 by knockout, seemed to tip the scales in his favor. Tyson entered the ring as the number 2 heavyweight contender according to the World Boxing Council, while Frazier was ranked number 9 by the same organization. With the legendary Joe Cortez as the 3rd man in the ring, the fight commenced. First round. After the bell rang, the fighters met in the center of the ring. Tyson quickly stunned Frazier with one of the most powerful right hands he had ever received in his professional career. Then, the young knockout machine, Iron Mike, forced Frazier into the corner, where he hit him with a relentless uppercut that sent him crashing to the canvas. After this terrifying scene, Joe Cortez, who had started the safety count out of formality, counted to 5 before calling an end to the fight. Just 30 seconds into the first round, Mike Tyson knocked out Marvis Frazier.
He hurt at this point. Uppercut again, and there Marvis is out on his feet. Everything after this is just...
After the fight. This fight marked Frazier's 2nd knockout loss in his professional career. His first came when he fought Larry Holmes, who had an undefeated record of 44 wins at the time, also losing in the first round. After this fight, rumors of a matchup between Tyson and Holmes heated up, but it would be years before they finally faced each other in the ring. Mike Tyson versus Clifford Etienne. We've reached the final fight in our collection. Just like Tyson in 1985, we aim to end on a high note. Let's jump to the new millennium. On February 22, 2003, Iron Mike, now a legendary figure, faced Clifford Etienne in the ring at the Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee. In his previous fight on June 8, 2002, Mike had faced the world heavyweight champion of the WBC and IBF, Lennox Lewis, which turned out to be his last title bout. Tyson was thoroughly beaten by Lewis, who won on all the judges' scorecards from the 2nd round before knocking Tyson out in the 8th round. Much was said about the end of the grace years of a legend, and Mike's plans were not announced immediately after the defeat. However, in November, it was revealed that Tyson would return in February 2003 to face Etienne. Just 3 years prior, in 2000, Etienne was named the most exciting fighter to watch by The Ring magazine. If he suffered a loss, there would be no choice but to retire with dignity. Nevertheless, Tyson surprised all the skeptics by displaying the energy of the young knockout machine we've been admiring until now. With Bill Clancy as the 3rd man in the ring, this epic contest began. First round. As soon as the bell rang, the beast within Iron Mike awakened. Tyson started the fight aggressively, launching powerful combinations at Etienne. Etienne sought to clinch, but the momentum of both fighters led to a slip that sent both to the canvas. Because of this, Clancy called for a brief timeout so they could recover from the heavy fall. Once the fight resumed, Tyson continued throwing wild and powerful punches at Etienne, but seemed to miss most of them. Etienne defended himself with several powerful shots, and when they clinched, Tyson missed a left hook but recovered with a strong right hand that sent Etienne to the canvas.
To the head, and Etienne's down. Oh, there it is, right hand.
This time, he was completely alone. Lying on his back, Etienne made no attempt to return to the fight. Once Clancy completed the safety count, Tyson was declared the winner by knockout at 49 seconds of the first round. This victory would become the 50th and final win in Iron Mike's professional career. If you've made it this far, I thank you. Remember, there's no better way to support my content than by leaving a like on the video. Wait a moment, you didn't think I'd leave you with half the information. The fastest knockout in Mike Tyson's professional career occurred on July 26, 1986, when he defeated Marvis Frazier by knockout in the first round, in just 30 seconds. Did you guess correctly? Which of these rapid knockouts by Iron Mike is your favorite? Let me read your thoughts in the comments box. When we think of Iron Mike, we often picture the young knockout machine who finished off his opponents in seconds. However, the great Iron Mike also suffered harsh defeats that, just like his victories, are gems in the recent history of boxing. In today's video, I invite you to relive 5 of these defeats while learning about the factors that worked against someone who was once the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Get comfortable. You're about to witness authentic massacres. Mike Tyson versus James Buster Douglas. It was 1990, and Mike Tyson had already made a name for himself among the new wave of boxers by becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history. But with this great honor came the need to stay ready for challengers, like vultures, who wanted to snatch the title from his hands. One of them was James Buster Douglas. Having debuted as a professional nearly 10 years earlier, on July 23, 1981, Douglas had navigated the sport with ups and downs. Therefore, probably no one thought he would pose a real challenge to the mighty Iron Mike. However, on February 11, 1990, in the ring at the Tokyo Dome, James Buster Douglas would show that he had what it took to shatter Mike Tyson's invincible image. During this fight, Tyson was defending the IBF heavyweight title for the 7th time, the WBA title for the 9th, and the WBC title for the 10th. Ken Morita, Larry Rosadila, and Masakazu Uchida were appointed as judges, and they wouldn't escape criticism for the controversial outcome. Entering the fight against Douglas, Tyson was already scheduled to face Evander Holyfield, who was the #1 contender for the WBA, WBC, and IBF. This bout was supposed to take place on June 18th in Atlantic City, with Tyson set to earn a purse of $22 million. On January 18, 1990, Douglas's mother suffered a stroke. Just 23 days before the fight, Douglas lost the great love of his life. In betting houses, he was never the favorite. Everyone wondered what he was doing facing Mike Tyson at a time when it was almost impossible to think of Mike being defeated. However, after his mother's death, his trainer and uncle, J.D. McCauley, assured that Douglas would use all his pain and turn it into something positive. But it wasn't just a presumption. Those around him felt a new determination when he returned to training after the funeral. Close sources claimed he was dedicated like never before. On the other hand, the New York Times reported days before the fight that the greatest enemy of Iron Mike was himself. According to the article, Tyson had fallen into a self-destructive cycle by not training properly, failing to prepare for his match, and even distancing himself from experienced boxers. Despite expressing confidence in Mike, suggesting that the safest bet was a crushing victory for Tyson over Douglas in just a few rounds, they doubted his sanity by also indicating that, according to reports coming from Tokyo, the champion was sabotaging his own reign. Under this scenario, with Octavio Mayran as the 3rd man in the ring, the fight began. Fight summary. From the start, Douglas controlled the pace of the fight. From the outside, he worked towards victory with a strong jab, successfully halting Tyson's advances every time he went on the attack.
Keep in mind that Carl Williams looked pretty loose and relaxed against Tyson until Williams on the undercard of Tyson Spinks and floored him twice in the early rounds with the left jab.
See, Mike has to be careful also because Mike's standing.
In the early rounds, the incompetence of Tyson's new trainers, Aaron Snowell and Jay Bright, became evident.
Because he takes a move, he steps to his right, give a little angle.
Douglas giving.
So as opposed to one big punch. But that you put you in a lot of trouble.
Douglas accurate with the jab.
Yes. Good left hook by
Douglas again with the left.
By the 5th round, Mike's left eye had already begun to swell. Curiously, Tyson's corner did not have an ice pack, a standard piece of equipment to soothe the fighter's injuries. Therefore, they had to improvise by using a gloved hand with ice to try to reduce the swelling between rounds. With just 6 seconds left in the 8th round, Tyson seemed to tip the scales in his favor after knocking down Douglas with a fierce right uppercut.
Here he's against the ropes. I've never seen.
And there's a right hand uppercut.
However, Douglas was up at the count of 9, and the end of the round allowed him to recover in his corner. In the 9th round, Douglas regained control of the bout.
Right to the body, he tries the uppercut again and misses. Douglas comes back with a left and a right.
Until that knockdown, the left eye.
Tyson needs the ropes for support. Douglas wins. Without the ropes, Mike would have gone down.
In the 10th round with a left hook, he shook Mike's newly found confidence. With a right uppercut followed by a deadly combination that ended in a powerful left hook, Douglas sent Tyson to the canvas for the first time in his entire career. Tyson was so disoriented that he put his mouthguard in upside down and tried to get up, but his trembling legs only revealed great weakness.
Rolling willingly just to try to get in the shot that will finish things in.
Oh, the uppercut.
What an uppercut by Douglas. He's down.
After this unprecedented scene, Mayran stopped the fight while embracing a wobbly Iron Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. Certainly, Tyson did not start the 1990s on a good note. Despite being able to recover in his subsequent fights, over the years, another significant setback occurred in Iron Mike's career. This time, the author would be none other than Evander Holyfield. On November 9, 1996, Mike stepped into the ring at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, to face his destiny. He had just regained his WBA heavyweight title and had to prove he could hold on to it. Tyson and Holyfield were originally scheduled to fight on June 18, 1990. Remember I mentioned that? Those plans were thrown out the window when, seemingly out of nowhere, the betting underdog, James "Buster" Douglas, ended Mike's immortal streak. A second encounter was attempted between these fighters on November 8, 1991, at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, with Tyson as the challenger in Holyfield's second title defense. However, on September 9th, Tyson was accused of raping a beauty pageant contestant in Indianapolis, which marked the beginning of the long-term cancellation of this bout. A rib injury postponed the original date, and with a trial set to begin in January 1992, it became impossible to schedule a new date for the match. On February 10th, Tyson was found guilty of rape and sentenced to prison. After his release on March 25, 1995, Mike regained the WBC heavyweight title with a technical knockout in the third round against Frank Bruno on March 16, 1996.
Big right hand lands. Tyson knows he's got him in big trouble. If he doesn't answer it, Richard Steele.
He recovered the WBA title on September 7th of the same year, defeating Bruce Seldon by technical knockout in the first round.
Stand straight up there. Now that's not. Oh, down goes Bruce Seldon. That was a punch, nice long rest there, but he has fell.
Back comes Sheldon.
Why didn't he defend both? Mike had to vacate the WBC title to fight Holyfield instead of Lennox Lewis, who was the mandatory challenger. With $30 million as the purse for the fight, Mike probably found a good reason to give fans what they had been waiting for years. "Finally," was the tagline used to promote the match. And, with Mitch Halpern as the third man in the ring, the fight took place. Fight summary. After the sound of the opening bell, Tyson and Holyfield met in the center of the ring. The level of boxing both fighters entered immediately had not been seen in any fight in the previous years. Round after round, both fighters unleashed wild punches. With such a great clash of forces, it was not surprising when the first clinches appeared.
Un poquito a la hora de entrar. Holyfield en el centro del ring, el gancho de izquierda de Mike Tyson, interviniendo bien en el combate. Falló la izquierda, pero es impresionante la que se está montando a la derecha de Mike Tyson. Se metió.
By the second round, Holyfield, who is not remembered for being a big puncher, landed a left hook that seemed to stagger Mike.
Contra las cuerdas a Mike Tyson, esto es nuevo, es noticia. Tyson contra las cuerdas. Mete el gancho derecha, Evander Holyfield, está boceando.
From this point on, the contest lasted another 8 rounds. Rounds in which Tyson lost his sanity a little more with each heavy impact his body received. However, Tyson always remained a latent threat. In the 5th round, he unleashed a body shot on Holyfield and an uppercut to his chin that proved the beast inside him was still there. But as the seconds passed, Mike seemed more confused about why Holyfield was still standing. During the 6th round, a headbutt opened a small cut above Tyson's left eye. By the 7th, Mike kept looking at Halpern, complaining about the headbutts. In a new attempt to attack, he charged at Holyfield and crashed his cut against his shaved head.
Estaba atendiendo Mike Tyson, tocó con la izquierda Evander Holyfield. Entra.
Tyson was already gasping in pain. He was in serious trouble. By the 10th round, each of the more than 16,100 people in attendance was shouting for Holyfield's victory. It was when Holyfield executed a powerful combination, followed shortly by a straight right to the head and with 8 unanswered punches. Tyson probably remembered Buster Douglas as he was thrown against the ropes.
Muy bien esas manos. Esa combinación durísima. La derecha. Tyson mundo. Evander Holyfield va a tratar de pagar la última. Se puede repetir la noche de Toki.
It had been a long time since anyone had seen the great Iron Mike, the youngest heavyweight champion in history, saved by the bell. The fight was practically over. However, 37 seconds into the 11th round, a powerful right hand to Tyson's head sent him crashing against the ropes again, making it official.
No cometer errores porque ante Mike Tyson eso es mortal. Mete la izquierda, llega la mano de Evander Holyfield, se va a ir a la lona. Mike Tyson tiene nuevamente la...
After this violent blow, Halpern embraced Tyson to protect him and called for the end of the contest. "I don't remember that round," Mike would say after the fight. According to his statements, his mind got stuck in something strange. Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield II. As if looking into a mirror, just as Evander Holyfield had secured the WBC heavyweight title, he had to prove he was worthy of holding it by defending it against none other than Mike Tyson. The slogan for this contest was "The Sound and the Fury," but in reality, both fighters were so relevant to the moment that what you could read on every poster was, at a glance, Holyfield versus Tyson 2. Originally, the match was scheduled for May 3, 1997, but was postponed to June 28 due to a cut Tyson suffered above his left eye during training. The injury was caused by a head collision with one of his sparring partners, leading to the announcement of the postponement on April 8th. Do you remember Mitch Halpern? He was chosen again to be the referee for the rematch. However, Tyson's co-managers, John Horn and Rory Holloway, appeared before an emergency meeting of the Nevada State Athletic Commission on June 26th and requested that Halpern be replaced. Their argument was that Mike would be psychologically damaged by having Halpern in the ring again, as he was convinced it wouldn't be fair to him during the fight. The commission rejected this protest, but Halpern himself decided to resign later that night. This led to Mills Lane being the third man in the ring at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas that night. Fight summary. A powerful right hand shook Tyson just in the first round. Out of orbit, the clouds were beginning to turn gray over Iron Mike.
Jab, looking to set up the right there. Combination of their head. Evander Holyfield.
In the second round, Tyson threw his own right hand just as Holyfield was starting to unleash a powerful left hook. As Mike leaned in to take the punch, Holyfield ducked, and their heads collided, opening a cut above Tyson's right eye.
Tyson, something we didn't see in the first fight.
Lane called for some time and informed the ringside officials that the cut was caused by a headbutt. Tyson seemed to recover during the third round after losing the first two on the judges' scorecards. Mike managed to land a couple of good right hands on Holyfield, but it was only the moment of glory before the final descent. In the last minute of the round, while both were clinched, Tyson bit off a piece of Holyfield's right ear.
First fight.
Holyfield stepped back and jumped in the air, screaming in pain. Tyson, out of control, walked behind him and pushed him against the ropes. Lane, alert, stopped the action and deducted 2 points from Mike, who claimed that the damage to Holyfield's ear was caused by one of his punches. However, Lane had seen everything clearly. Once the fight resumed, Tyson bit Holyfield's left ear. At the end of the episode, when Lane was able to assess the bite mark on Holyfield's left ear, he disqualified Tyson. Even after the fight, Tyson continued to defend his stance. From his perspective, Holyfield's headbutts had been intentional, so the bites were merely retaliation.
See, look at him. You can see it. You can see it. Look. And look at this.
Mike Tyson versus Lennox Lewis. Entering the new millennium on June 8, 2002, Tyson experienced the bitterness of defeat again, this time against Lennox Lewis in the ring at the Pyramid in Memphis, Tennessee. Lewis was to defend for the first time the heavyweight titles of the WBC and the IBF, as well as the heavyweight title of the iconic magazine, The Ring. Incredibly, the defense of these belts began even before both fighters entered the venue. On January 22, 2002, there was a press conference in New York City to officially announce the fight. Tyson was the first to be introduced. He walked onto the stage and fixed his gaze where Lewis was supposed to appear. Once Lewis was on stage, Mike quickly walked towards him. True chaos was about to be unleashed. A bodyguard for Lewis stepped in between the fighters, pushing Tyson back. Tyson almost immediately took an aggressive fighting stance and threw a looping left at the bodyguard. Fortunately, he missed. Lewis, showing no fear, raised his fists and threw a punch as a dozen boxing officials and members from both camps rushed onto the stage. Amidst all the shoving, both fighters fell to the ground. There, Tyson, who who had suffered a cut on his forehead, remembered his cannibal side with Evander Holyfield and bit Lewis's leg. In the midst of the fray, WBC President Jose Sulaiman was knocked unconscious after hitting his head on a table. Later, he would file a $56 million lawsuit against both fighters. Finally, with Eddie Cotton as the third man in the ring, the real contest began. Fight summary. From the first round, the bout turned into a total domination of Tyson by Lewis. Throughout the rounds, Tyson suffered significant cuts over both eyes, adorned with deep cuts on Mike's nose, causing him to bleed alarmingly. Just as the 8th round was nearing its end, Tyson, who had already been forced to stagger from a series of uppercuts, fell heavily to the canvas after a right hand exploded on his chin. Only 35 seconds were left in the round, and Tyson's attempts to get up were extremely few. Thus, Cotton was able to complete the safety count, leaving Mike out of action. When Cotton reached 10, Tyson's right hand covered his face, eventually bringing it to his side after the official announcement of the knockout, revealing his face stained with his own blood.
Hoping that this fight would redeem. Got hard. You can't take that one. Big right hand from Lewis, and Tyson goes down for the third time. It's over.
Mike Tyson versus Kevin McBride. Approaching the true end of Iron Mike's professional career, we have one of the most shocking defeats of his trajectory. It occurred on June 11, 2005, when he stepped into the ring at the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. to face Kevin McBride. Tyson was guaranteed a purse of $5.5 million, while McBride was only paid $150,000. However, according to documents filed in a U.S. bankruptcy court, Mike was expected to receive only $250,000, with most of the purse, after deducting the corresponding taxes, destined for Monica Turner, his ex-wife, and his creditors. Jeff Fenech trained Mike for the fight, who was seen as the clear favorite, as it was not believed that a fighter like McBride could match the legend who refused to retire from the ring due to financial issues. But Mike's erratic behavior would once again be his downfall. With Joe Cortez as the third man in the ring, the fight began. Fight summary. From the first round, it was evident that the beast within Mike was hibernating, probably never to awaken.
Final 10 seconds of the first round.
At the beginning of the 6th round, Tyson, erratic, perhaps like never before, tried to break McBride's left arm while they were clinched. Mike probably channeled the energy of when he attempted the same in 1999 against Francois Botha. With an intentional headbutt, Tyson opened a cut over McBride's left eye. The ringside doctor examined McBride while the referee deducted 2 points from Mike for the foul. Later, McBride would state that Tyson, the cannibal, had bitten his nipples. Just as the bell rang to signal the end of the 6th round, Tyson fell backward against the ropes, but the referee ruled that he had slipped. Mike, looking exhausted like never before, didn't seem inclined to get up, but he had no choice but to return to his corner and sit on the stool from where he would announce his surrender. Ironically, by the time Tyson left the contest, he was being scored as the winner on the judges' cards. After this fight, Mike, who had lost 3 of his last 4 bouts, announced his retirement. If you've made it this far, thank you. Remember, there's no better way to support my content than by liking the video. Did you know the full story behind these defeats of Iron Mike? Which one did you find the most intense? I look forward to your comments. The clowns underestimated Mike Tyson, but they paid the consequences. Intro. Mike Tyson isn't called the Iron Kid for nothing. Since his debut, fight after fight, he delivered a series of great moments to boxing fans that, even today, haven't been surpassed. To relive some of those moments, I bring you a compilation of fights where Tyson demonstrated why becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history was destined for him. Get comfortable, because you're about to dive into a whirlwind of aggression and savagery like never before. Luckily, we'll only be spectators. Mike Tyson versus James Bonecrusher Smith. The year was 1987, and Mike Tyson had just been crowned the youngest heavyweight champion in history by the World Boxing Council. But with such recognition came bigger challenges. One of them took place on March 7th when he stepped into the ring at the Las Vegas Hilton Outdoor Arena to face James Bonecrusher Smith. Being the 7-1 favorite, this fight is fondly remembered by Iron Mike's fans as the first time he was introduced with that nickname. Smith not only had the age advantage, being 13 years older than Mike, but also an 11-inch reach advantage and 6 inches in height. This fight was part of HBO's heavyweight unification tournament, as Smith was also defending his World Boxing Association heavyweight title. Mike entered the ring with an undefeated professional record of 28 victories, 26 of them by knockout. Meanwhile, Bone Crusher came in with a record of 19 wins, 14 by knockout, and 5 losses. The judges for the bout were Dalby Shirley, Jose Juan Guerra, and Lou Tabat. With Mills Lane as the third man in the ring, the fight began. Fight summary. From the first round, Smith's fighting stance was a surprise. Instead of bombarding Tyson as expected, he tried to hold him, which resulted in a point deduction by the second round. Bone Crusher's tactics frustrated Mike, leading to shoves between rounds as Tyson tried to provoke Smith's anger.
The wind of that at the commentary position right against the ring apron. There's no reason to suspect he's not the Iron Man.
However, the intensity shown in those moments rarely translated into the actual combat. Some sparks flew at the end of the first round when Tyson threw a left hook long after the bell.
And the stare from Tyson, and Bone Crusher saying, "What's this all about?"
At the start of the second round, Mike opened a cut over Smith's left eye with a headbutt. A minute later, Smith's troubles worsened when Lane penalized him for continuous holding. By the end of this round, the lack of action drew boos from the crowd of nearly 14,000. In the third round, more holding from Smith and frustration from Tyson ensued, who couldn't land a good combination. By this point, post-bell activity seemed to become routine. Bone Crusher began to retreat in the fourth round after Tyson landed a right to the head, but that was the only significant blow of the round. After rounds 5 and 6 proved uneventful, the crowd finally had a moment of excitement in the 7th round when Tyson hit the canvas, though it was just a slip.
Well, that was almost hit it.
In the 8th round, once again, Lane had to deduct a point from Smith for excessive holding. The fight dragged into the final scheduled rounds with Tyson looking for a fight and Smith evading him, causing the boos to continue. To break the monotony, Smith landed a punch in the last round, but did little else. The final bell ended the miserable fight in which both fighters had been forced to participate.
And I think Tyson did. And this will keep going after the bell.
It could have been worse, it was later said. It could have been scheduled for 15 rounds. When the referee took the center of the ring, Iron Mike was declared the winner by unanimous decision. Mike Tyson versus Donovan Razor Ruddock. Tyson and Ruddock have a history. Their first meeting took place on March 18, 1991, in the ring at the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. It was a heavyweight elimination bout with Jerry Roth, Chuck Giampa, and Dave Moretti serving as judges. While Mike entered the fight as the #1 heavyweight contender for the World Boxing Council, World Boxing Association, and International Boxing Federation, Ruddock closely followed, ranked second. With Richard Steele as the referee for this encounter, the fight began. Fight summary. From the sound of the bell, Mike came out of his corner with the aggression that characterized him in those days. His hard work quickly took its toll.
Well, he's ready for it. He threw his bomb. All right. Cut which missed. The big question, can Ruddock withstand the cut? It's done something. It stopped Iron Mike. What our associate minister lets them know. Tyson hitting afterwards.
As in the second round, Ruddock found himself on the canvas, forced to reconsider his participation in the fight. Despite getting up and continuing, in the third round, Ruddock faced another setback, hitting the canvas once again.
Good shot. He just doesn't quite get there. There's a left by Ruddock. What a counterpunch.
Tyson's violent offense continued through the rounds until the 7th, when a deadly barrage of punches sent the giant Canadian wobbling, marking the end of the fight. Faced with the tragic scene, Steele decided that Ruddock couldn't take another punch. Thus, Iron Mike was declared the winner by technical knockout at 2 minutes and 22 seconds of the 7th round.
Sounded like he hit a drum. Again, the crowd groaned. Relentless attack by Tyson. Just then, Tyson has Ruddock on the rope. Now the right combination. Steele steps in. Is it over? It's over. And Mike Tyson has defeated Razor Ruddock.
Mike Tyson versus Donovan Razor Ruddock II. A few months later, on June 28, 1991, Ruddock had the chance to redeem himself by fighting Iron Mike once again. The fighters were once again called to the ring at the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. For this heavyweight elimination fight, Dalby Shirley, Chuck Giampa, and Art Lurie served as judges. Tyson remained the #1 heavyweight contender for the World Boxing Council, World Boxing Association, and International Boxing Federation. But now, Ruddock could only boast of being the second-ranked heavyweight contender for the World Boxing Council. With Mills Lane as the referee for this new encounter, the fight began. Fight summary: Tyson came out of his corner with the confidence of having beaten Ruddock before, and quickly reaped the rewards.
Third man of the ring. He has one of the best lefts in the business. Good counterpunch by Tyson.
In what seemed like deja vu, Mike sent Ruddock to the canvas in the second round. Ruddock managed to continue fighting, but in the fourth round, yet another setback came. Once again, Tyson's violent offense sent him to the floor. Ruddock's frustration only grew as the rounds went on. Although he made it past the 7th round, he was penalized in the 8th for hitting after the bell. Mike, on the other hand, also seemed frustrated that the fight had gone on so long. In a rash move, his attacks on Ruddock led to some low blows, resulting in point deductions in the 9th and 10th rounds. With both fighters unable to finish each other off, the fight reached its conclusion.
Nice counterpunch by Tyson. Another right hand. Hard. Tyson digging to the ribs. Winning what round?
When the announcer took the center of the ring, Iron Mike was declared the winner by unanimous decision from the judges. Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks. 3 years earlier, on June 27, 1988, Mike Tyson stepped into the ring at the Convention Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey to face Michael Spinks. This was one of the most iconic matches of the decade, billed as Once and For All. It was a fight between two undefeated fighters, each with a legitimate claim to the World Heavyweight Championship. Additionally, Spinks was defending his The Ring Heavyweight title for the 4th time, while Mike was defending the International Boxing Federation Heavyweight title for the 4th time, the World Boxing Association Heavyweight title for the 6th time, and the World Boxing Council Heavyweight title for the 7th time. Therefore, the winner of the bout would gain exclusive possession of the title. The judges for the fight were Rocky Castellani, Jon Stewart, and Eva Shane. Mike entered the ring with a perfect record of 34 wins, 30 of them by knockout, while Spinks followed closely with 31 wins, 21 of them by knockout. With Frank Cappuccino as the third man in the ring, once and for all, the fight began. Fight summary: 21-year-old Tyson shone in the ring. When the opening bell rang, he charged forward and threw a left hook that caught Spinks high on the head. At that moment, the ring champion wasn't thinking of a peaceful retreat, but rather of grabbing hold of Mike with his arms. In their first clinch, Cappuccino intervened after noticing one of Mike's glove laces resting on Spinks' throat. Moments later, Spinks, who now appeared to be just a challenger, tried to back away but had his head snapped back by a hard left uppercut. Still reeling from that first blow, Spinks was then hit with a short, spinning right hook that landed just below his heart. At that point, the ring saw its champion fall to his knees. It was the first knockdown in Michael Spinks' professional career.
Michael Spinks has to keep moving because every shot... uppercut landed!
With Cappuccino counting, he got back on his feet by the count of 4. Still, Frank counted to the regulatory 8 and asked if he was fit to continue, staring into his eyes. When the fight resumed, Tyson returned to his aggressive stance. Spinks attempted to defend himself with a right hand, but it was too weak and his movements too slow. Tyson threw a left hook at shoulder level over Spinks' uncertain hand. The clash of these two forces sent Spinks' head forward and down, where Mike caught it with a right hand that arced at waist height and connected squarely with the jaw. Spinks' eyes rolled back and his legs trembled. With his arms stretched out, he collapsed to the canvas. He tried to get up as Cappuccino counted, but he fell onto his right side. By the time Cappuccino reached 10, Spinks's head was resting against the bottom rope. In just 1 minute and 31 seconds, Tyson defeated the, until then, undefeated Michael Spinks by knockout. Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. Another heavyweight champion who failed to successfully defend his title against the young knockout machine, Iron Mike, was Trevor Berbick. To relive this bout, we must go back to November 22, 1986. That night, in the ring at the Hilton Hotel in Las Vegas, Mike Tyson challenged Trevor Berbick in what would be his first defense of the World Boxing Council heavyweight title. The fight was billed as Judgment Day, and the crowd of over 8,800 people knew they were about to witness history. In the worst-case scenario for Mike, his epic undefeated streak would come to an end. With Mills Lane as the third man in the ring, Judgment Day took place. Fight summary. When the bell rang, Iron Mike went into beast mode and charged at Berbick. Although the first round was highly explosive, the real damage to the reigning champion didn't come until the following round. In it, Iron Mike's relentless offense left Berbick stumbling around the ring as if he were caught in a cosmic loop. It all began when Mike knocked Berbick to the canvas with a fearless series of punches that ended with a powerful left hook. Berbick crashed to the mat but quickly got up, signaling to Mills Lane, who was closely watching, that he could continue the fight.
Championship of the world. Trevor Berbick and Mike Tyson. Tyson goes to work right away, and he gets Trevor in trouble, and he's done 8 count as he steps right up the counts to 4 and 5 and 6 and 7.
Unknowingly, Berbick was only signing himself up for an inevitable and irreversible punishment. It was evident that the champion was not in good shape. Berbick's inability was exposed as he tried to tie Tyson up in clinches to stop his aggressive drive toward a victory that already seemed promised. Even Berbick's desperation was clear when, in the middle of a break, he threw a punch at his challenger. That bold move earned him nothing but a stern warning from Lane.
Here's that belt. Wild on the break, and Mills Lane warns Trevor about it. Trevor trying to do all he can, but what he's not doing is holding off Mike with a left. And you see the light left cage. Instead he goes to the body downstairs, catches him with the right hand.
Ironically, his end came at the close of the round. Suddenly, a deadly left hook from Tyson landed on Berbick's temple, and after a delayed reaction, he collapsed onto the seat of his trunks. Berbick was not willing to lose his crown so easily, so he truly fought to get back on his feet. However, all he did was stumble toward the ropes near his corner, where he collapsed helplessly. Berbick tried to straighten up, his arms flailing. The scene became even more chaotic as Berbick staggered back to the center of the ring where he had initially fallen, only to crash back down onto the canvas.
Bangs the body. Wow, that uppercut is Tyson. Catches him with a right left hook, and he goes down. He's able to get up from this. His legs may be shut. They are. As Trevor back in the rope. I don't know if he's going to be able to get there.
Determined not to give up his title, the champion once again tried to stand, stumbling toward a neutral corner. By that point, Lane's very lenient count had already reached 9. Against all odds, Berbick had gotten back up from the canvas at that moment. Lane didn't hesitate to quickly examine Berbick, only to realize that sending him back into the fight would be like leading him to slaughter. With nothing else to do, Lane hugged Berbick and stopped the fight. At 2 minutes and 35 seconds into the second round, 20-year-old Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history by defeating Trevor Berbick by technical knockout. It's said that when he got into the ring, Iron Mike told his team, "I am the youngest heavyweight champion in history, and I will be the oldest." Do you believe in the idea that if you manifest something, it comes true? Mike Tyson versus Larry Holmes. And before I let you go, I have one more shocking fight to share. Once Mike became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, he had to prove he was worthy of the title's pride and defended against the long list of challengers eager to take a shot at the great Iron Mike. On January 22, 1988, the unlucky challenger who stepped into the ring at the Atlantic City Convention Center in New Jersey was Larry Holmes. Tyson, at 21 years old, was 17 years younger than the 38-year-old Holmes, who had been out of the ring for 21 months. This fight would determine whether experience outweighed the wild spirit of youth. Mike had to defend his International Boxing Federation heavyweight title for the second time, his World Boxing Association heavyweight title for the 4th time, and his World Boxing Council heavyweight title for the 5th time. With the legendary Joe Cortez as the 3rd man in the ring, the fight began. Silence. Fight summary: Tyson, already the undisputed champion, was the aggressor throughout the first round. As soon as the bell rang, he came out of his corner with a clear offensive plan, determined to make Holmes regret even thinking about taking his belts. By the second round, Mike had gained enough confidence to allow Holmes to breathe and throw some punches of his own, though Holmes never posed a real threat.
Questions, if in fact Larry can nail Tyson, how long can his legs stay strong? There's a lot of pressure on him.
The third round was total domination by Tyson, who proved that the vitality of youth's wild spirit was stronger than years of experience. However, it wasn't until the fourth round that Mike cornered Holmes and stopped him once and for all. With a powerful right hand, Tyson put Holmes in serious trouble. The right landed squarely on Holmes' chin, sending him crashing to the seat of his trunks, right in Tyson's corner.
Continue that round after round. Oh, a big right hand, and down goes.
Cortez counted to 4 before Holmes got to his feet, grabbing the ropes. Cortez counted to the full 8 and watched Holmes shake his head as if trying to clear his thoughts. When the fight resumed, the wounded veteran let go of the ropes to face Mike, who was already moving toward him. Tyson threw punches left and right, trying to land the final blow. Suddenly, another strong right hand from Mike sent the fading veteran crashing against the ropes and back down to the mat. This time, Cortez counted to 5 before Holmes got up. When the fight resumed, Tyson seemed determined to finish him off once and for all. The young knockout machine threw punch after punch, repeatedly snapping Holmes' head back while ringside assistants were screaming for the fight to end. Cortez allowed the fighters to continue as Holmes tried to escape, with Tyson chasing him. Inevitably, another strong right hand from Mike knocked Holmes down, and as soon as his almost lifeless body hit the canvas, Cortez waved the fight over. At 2 minutes and 55 seconds into the fourth round, Tyson defeated Larry Holmes by technical knockout.
Be hanging on! Now with the right hand, the left hand! He's gonna hang on! Or they'll stop the fight! Down he goes!
After the defeat, Holmes didn't fight for over 3 years. However, he returned in 1991 and remained active until 2002. Closing. If you've made it this far, thank you. Remember, the best way to support my content is by leaving a like on the video. Which of these incredible Tyson victories was your favorite? What other fight do you think I should revisit in a part 2 of this video? I'll see you in the comments. After losing his titles and undefeated status, many fighters thought Tyson would become an easy opponent to beat. But Iron Mike only proved that he could grow stronger, becoming even more lethal. Welcome. In today's video, you'll witness an authentic massacre permitted within the limits of a boxing ring. But even at the end of the bout, you'll be left speechless at the war that unfolded. Watch with discretion, as the images you're about to see are highly sensitive. It was the year 1991, amid rumors that the golden years of the indestructible Mike Tyson had come to an end.
What an uppercut by Douglas, and down goes Tyson.
Even so, many challengers added their names to the waiting list for the chance to step into the ring with Iron Mike and claim a victory that would position them as one of the best in the sport. On March 18th, it was Donovan Ruddock's turn. Ruddock had made his debut almost 10 years earlier, on March 20th, 1982, defeating Wes Rowe at the Columbus Center, Toronto, by technical knockout in the 4th round of a 6-round fight. From then on, he began a modest winning streak until April 30th, 1985, when David Jaco in the Dartmouth Sportsplex ring in Dartmouth handed him the bitter taste of defeat. What could have been his end was just the beginning of a new era. As if touched by the Elder Wand, Ruddock began a new winning streak over the years, positioning him at the right moment and place to face the man who, in turn, was breaking records left and right, Iron Mike. Both fighters earned their place in the ring of the Mirage Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada for a heavyweight eliminator fight. Tyson entered the fight as the #1 heavyweight contender for the World Boxing Council, the World Boxing Association, and the International Boxing Federation. However, Ruddock was close behind him. The World Boxing Council, the World Boxing Association, and the International Boxing Federation all ranked Ruddock as the #2 heavyweight contender. With a fight labeled between the two best for the title, only a catastrophic and explosive ending could be expected. That's why, from the moment it was announced, the fight was promoted with the phrase, "the winner by knockout," as a prediction of what awaited the loser of this match. At 27 years old, the Canadian giant entered with a professional record of 25 victories, with 18 of them by knockout, 1 loss, and 1 draw. In the opposite corner, Iron Mike awaited him. At only 24 years old with a slightly later debut, Tyson boasted an imposing professional record of 39 victories, 35 by knockout, and just one prior defeat. Undoubtedly, the scales tipped in Mike's favor. However, it was one of those nights where anything could happen. The judges for the fight were Jerry Roth, Chuck Giampa, and Dave Moretti. With Richard Steele as the third man in the ring, the action began. Round 1. With the sound of the bell, the fighters met in the center of the ring. Immediately, Iron Mike was as aggressive as he's remembered to be back then. Charging Ruddock against the ropes, the clash of force generated the first clinch of the fight. Soon after, the intensity of Iron Mike's offense caused the Canadian giant to stumble, almost falling toward the center of the ring. The round progressed and the fighters exchanged power punches. Ruddock seemed to rely on clinching when Mike got too close. Even from these early moments, it was clear that Tyson had become the aggressor in the fight.
It's done something. It stopped Iron Mike.
What a right hand by Steele, and associate minister lets them know. Doesn't seem to care. A harsh running punch by Tyson.
Round 2. Tyson came out of his corner determined to tame the Canadian giant, and within seconds, he did. A formidable left hook sent Ruddock straight to the canvas, and the crowd went wild. Ruddock got up immediately with a facial expression that showed he was frustrated by what had just happened. Walking around the ring, he listened to Steele's mandatory 8 count. When the fight resumed, Ruddock relied on clinching to buy some time. But with Mike going for his head, it was inevitable that brief exchanges of punches would occur.
Frustrated in the opening round. Now he's measuring Ruddock out and seems to be.
This body attack is killing.
Round 3. Ruddock left his corner intending to keep Tyson at bay. He extended his left hand, but no force was strong enough to stop Mike's aggressive offense. Even in the clinches initiated by Ruddock, Mike attacked the body. He had already defeated a couple of giants in his career and knew that was the correct way to weaken them before pushing them to their breaking point.
Take advantage.
He's forgotten how to tie up Tyson. As long as Tyson gets in, he lets him go and lets him work on the inside.
When Ruddock entered the exchange of punches, he opened his guard and lost more than he gained. With less than 10 seconds left in the round while exchanging punches in the center of the ring, he received a tenacious left hook that sent him to the canvas for the second time. This time, it took him a second longer to get up, and the expression on his face was a poem.
Crowd erupting.
Think good shot. He just doesn't quite get there.
Full of astonishment and disbelief, Ruddock listened to Steele once again give him the standing count. He was on his feet at the count of 7, proving he was still competent to fight. Luckily, the bell gave him a few extra seconds to recover in his corner. Round 4. Tyson came out of his corner like a caged beast, but Ruddock, knowing the result of such an attitude, stopped him with a clinch. Extending his left hand, Ruddock really wanted to keep Tyson at a distance. But there was a big difference between wanting and being able. And every time Tyson closed the gap, he could push him against the ropes with increasing ease. No longer initiating exchanges, Ruddock spent the entire round on the defensive. He covered up, bought time with clinches, and retreated, attempting to escape Mike. The Canadian giant seemed to be entering survival mode.
The crowd groaned. That body shot sounded like he hit a drum. Again, the crowd groaned.
Relentless attack by Tyson.
A guy that's totally discombobulated.
Round 5. Without hiding it, Ruddock began to retreat every time Mike took a step forward. He seemed to throw only 1 or 2 punches to reaffirm his stance in the fight. However, his interest in engaging in close exchanges still did not accompany him into the ring. Mike's aggressive offense was frustrated by the clinches initiated by the Canadian giant. Still, Tyson landed a couple of good punches during the round. When it ended, Ruddock could be seen leaning on the ropes and sighing before sitting down in his corner. What remained of his fighting spirit was on the verge of being banished from his already wounded body.
Was a good shot by Ruddock. Tyson's promoter, Don King.
You can question his integrity or his honesty. He's looking for that uppercut. He's looking for that one thing that...
We are now closing down the 5th round.
Round 6. Mike pushed Ruddock against the ropes as soon as the 6th round began. Ruddock tried to keep him at bay, extending his left hand, but it wasn't strong enough. Tyson's signature hooks began to appear in the ring, and it felt like the Canadian giant was fighting against a countdown. During the final minute, real action finally broke out with a violent exchange of punches that kept the audience shouting even during the break. Still, no one could have anticipated what was just around the corner.
Of Ruddock, who continues to stay on his feet.
Round 7. Once again, the fighters met in the center of the ring with Tyson as the aggressor. Ruddock relied on clinching while Mike bombarded his body. Mike's patience was wearing thin, and his combinations were becoming longer. Halfway through the round, Ruddock was pushed against the ropes. Cornered, he was spared from being battered by Steele, who put distance between them. Even so, Mike unleashed a flurry of punches that made Ruddock's head go from side to side, followed by his body until he hit the ropes. Steele, seeing how the Canadian giant had become a mere puppet, had no choice but to intervene out of mercy and call the fight to an end.
Moves on here, the 7th round coming up here for withstanding this kind of barrage. Oh, but that wavered him. Just then, Tyson has Ruddock on the ropes. If Tyson applies the pressure. Now the right combination. Shield step, it's over. And Mike Tyson has defeated Sting. Is it over? It's over.
After the fight, the fighters shared a hug, willing to leave the rivalry behind when the ring attendants began their own battle. Dozens of men from both sides stormed the ring, disputing their own fight, while the fighters were safely held in their corners. When the chaos subsided, there was nothing left to fight over. Mike Tyson had defeated Donovan Ruddock by technical knockout at 2 minutes and 22 seconds of the 7th round. If you've made it this far, thank you. Remember, there's no better way to support my content than by leaving a like on the video. If Ruddock had taken a more aggressive stance, do you think he would have had a real chance of beating Tyson? I'll read your thoughts in the comments.